Control, comfort, stability, and spin. This is the Tennis Warehouse racket review of the Mizuno Acrostrike 305. New to Tennis Warehouse, but far from new in designing tennis rackets, Mizuno introduces the Acrostrike 305 featuring a modern player spec. The feel is solid and comfortable thanks to the dual spring layup with resilient carbon fiber layers. To help deliver some pop and energy return on your shots, the 4-way pocket grommet system increases the pocketing and benefits the snapback for heavy spin. This racket features a 98 square inch head size with a 16-19 string pattern. The weight comes in at 11.4 ounces strung, a mid 320 swing weight, 3-point headlight balance, 63 stiffness rating, and the beam tapers from 21 millimeters at the tip, 23 millimeters at the sides of the hoop, and 21 millimeters at the yoke.
This Acrostrike 305 really reminded me of the Pure Strike that I grew up playing with, but maybe with just a little bit more comfort and feel. I actually really ended up gelling with this racket, maybe even contemplating a switch to it if I get a string setup dialed in that I like. But this racket is phenomenal off the baseline for me. On either my one-hander or my two-hander, the racket feels really connected to the ball, really good shape, spin, and action on my shots. Loved it on slices, and surprisingly good reliability on my forehand as well. Per my Zenith data, I was getting good consistency, spin, and depth. And on serve, this racket was absolutely wonderful for me. I felt like I was really just dropping the hammer with this, you know, getting more miles per hour, just a little bit more action and shape on my ball. Just a really excellent racket for serving. Again, up at the net, the great feel continued to make itself known. Just a really connected sensation to the ball overall. And on return as well, I loved this racket. This is just one of those frames that was really satisfying to play with, and the more I ended up hitting with it, the more I ended up liking it. The one thing I would maybe change about this is that I wanted maybe at times just a little bit more of a denser string pattern, maybe something like an 1820 for a little bit more feel on the ball. Overall, if you're looking for a 98 square inch racket with excellent feel and great reliability, this is one of my favorites currently.
I really like this racket from the baseline. It really favored my backhand more than my forehand, which was really odd to see. I usually have a bigger forehand than my backhand, but I think it was more so to do with the racket. I was able to bring it around the ball more so, get it a bit more racket head speed, and so I was just landing more consistently. I did see a drop in how many winners I was hitting, or just how many balls my opponents would get to. There was a lot more, and that also makes sense because of how much more control this is as opposed to some of the other rackets that I have been testing out. But definitely helped with my consistency, and I was getting a little bit more net clearance. On serves is where it shines the most for me. Because it's a little bit more controlled, I'm able to pick my spots a lot better. Even though it may not be an ace or anything of the sort, I'm still able to construct points much easier with the Acrostrike than I am with some of the other rackets that I've been testing for the last few weeks. So I really like that. There was a little bit of a stability issue at net. Anything off the center, I was just buckling. So just a little bit of customization, I think I'll be good with that. So if you're looking for a racket that offers that decent amount of control and that net clearance and that spin, definitely check out the Acrostrike 305.
This was my very first time hitting a Mizuno racket, and I was really impressed. The specs of this racket are very similar to my Pure Aero 98, so I was immediately very comfortable with it. Didn't really need an acclimation period with it at all. And what I really like about it is the overall playability. It has a great blend of power and control. From the baseline, I felt like I could take really big rips at the ball without fear of overhitting. And that open 16x19 string pattern really allowed me to attack with my forehand with a lot of topspin. And then there are times when I did have time to set up and I could put the shot away, and I felt like I could pretty easily do it with this racket, so there is enough pop there. And it is a very plush feeling racket, probably a little bit almost too muted for me. So on my volleys, I did feel a little disconnected from my shot. So if I were to change something, I would just like it to be a little bit more crisp. But good power on my serves, great spin there as well. This racket actually reminds me a lot of the Babolat Pure Strike, the Project 17 racket. That was my old racket of choice for a long time. This one does feel a bit more plush, a bit more muted, but playability-wise, very similar. So if you are a player that likes the blade or like the strike and you want something just a bit softer, then this is definitely one to check out.
From the first time I hit with this Acrostrike 305, I was really impressed with the level of control, also really good comfort, And I would say, being that this is Mizuno's more control and feel type of frame, it actually had some nice pop and energy return on the ball. When it came to like my data on the Zenith machine that we have, I got pretty average numbers in terms of spin, and I had really good consistency, but I would say I was pretty impressed with the level of pop I was getting on the ball, especially for a standard length racket. In comparison to other rackets in this spec range, I found this one to give me easier power than say a Wilson Blade 1619, but a little bit more control and feel than say like the Pure Strike. So I thought it was a nice middle ground, and overall I really liked it from the baseline. The comfort was great. I had good control, easy net clearance, as kind of what Munish was talking about. And then on serve, I had nothing that really stood out, nothing big boost in power, but I could hit my spots, I could spin the ball. And overall, I really liked the comfort of this racket. I would say in terms of power and spin, nothing really stood out, but it was just a really good, consistent feeling racket and something I could rely on when I was swinging away from the baseline. For this review, we had the racket strung with the tennis-only P6 1.23, strung at 52 pounds. And for more information on this racket or anything tennis related, be sure to head to Tennis Warehouse, Tennis Warehouse Europe, or Tennis Only.